Hello, welcome to Rural Empires. Today I'm going to be asking my dad questions on how I can reach my $1 million net worth goal by the age of 20. So starting out, I'd say the main question is just when I feel like there's so much going on, like getting started in investing, getting my real estate license, and trying to build those relationships with others, I feel like I get caught up in a lot of things, and sometimes maybe I'm not focused on the things that can get me to where I want to be and reach that $1 million goal. So my question is, what would you say are the main priorities I should have looking forward to reach that goal by 20?
Okay, so the question being, what are the main items to prioritize in order to accomplish $1 million net worth in a calendar year? That's ultimately our goal. Now, it's a goal that we've set for ourselves that is obtainable and reachable, but I caution looking directly at the money. So prioritizing the right deal with the least amount of downside, so covering your backside is a military term. So objectively, what we want to accomplish is reaching for the goal and prioritizing looking at deals. So we want to find as many opportunities or leads that we can look at relevant to opportunity that can be available in a particular deal. And I believe probably out of the gate that's going to be identifying multifamily structures or multiple home package deals within our area, our surrounding area, where there's an opportunity to do some fixing up and increasing the rents. Or if something is not being properly managed, maybe it's someone who just has one rental property or 5 rental properties and they're exhausted with the rental business because they're probably on the path of taking care of it themselves. And so they probably read a book on how to get rich owning real estate, and they went out and got a line of credit against their home, and they went and put in this sweat equity and have acquired a property, and they've probably already had a tenant tear up their stuff, and so they're just frustrated and they're looking to get out. That's just one example, but that's what can happen. Or again, finding a multifamily complex. So as I've shared before in one of the videos, and I know you're aware of, we a few years ago acquired a 40 unit, it was 10 quadplexes, a 40 unit complex that we acquired for around $900,000. We put $5,000 into each unit. They were currently renting at $350 a month. We bought them, put $5,000 in upgrades into each unit. That's on average. Some were $10,000, some were $2,000, depending on the quality of the particular unit at the time. But objectively, what we did is we bought those at $900 and some odd $1,000. We put, what is 5,000 times 40? 5 times 40?
200,000?
220,000 maybe? Maybe. Something in there, 240,000. Well, I just did the math to save myself the trouble.
You'd think I'd be better on the spot.
That's all right, no worries. We just did the math. $200,000, right? So you don't have to be great at math if you've got a calculator. So invested $200,000, so we had $1.1 million into them. And we went from having $350 a month rent to $650 a month rent. And so by buying those properties, we increased the rents at $5,000 per unit, invested into the properties. increased the value significantly. So we doubled the gross revenue coming into the property, and so effectively we were able to increase the value of that property nearly $1 million. Now, we actually sold them. What we did was we subdivided the 10 units into 10 individual complexes and sold them to other investors who were looking to get into the game and make their first leap, weren't ready to take on an entire 40-unit complex, and so they were doing the crawl, walk, run scenario, and so we subdivided those out and then sold them off individually. So effectively, if we bought 10 for $900,000 and we put $200,000 in them, we had 40 doors in 1.1, so 11000 divided by 40. So we had $27,500 per unit in them, and 27.5, 1, 2, 3 times 4. So we had $110,000 in each building, and we sold each building for around $190,000 a piece. And then we maintained the management of those properties. There's a lot to learn just in that process all by itself. But effectively, we netted somewhere around $75,000 times 10. So there was $750,000 that we netted in that year. Now, we could have just as well held those, and so just in that one move, that was about a 6-month to a year process in that property where we increased the value $750,000 just in that one property. Wow. Now, did that make $1 million? No, it didn't. But it was a matter of time that thing was going to improve and be worth $1 million. I mean, today's market, certainly it's well above and beyond met that $1 million over the course of time. But ultimately, again, so the target was, if our goal had been to make $1 million in net worth value, we will have gotten very close in just that one transaction. Yep. Now, that's just not how the cookie will always crumble in a rural community. So as we try to build an empire within a rural community, we have to work with the assets and the opportunities that are available to us. And so we have to be innovative and creative, and we have to be good at marketing who we are and what we are. So first priority is finding a way to generate leads your direction so that you have opportunity to evaluate deals. And then you cherry pick, so to speak, out of those deals, the ones where there's the most opportunity available for the least amount of downside. I always want to keep harping on that, because you can't win in the game if you're not in the game, so you got to get in the game. But you also can't win if you put all your eggs in one basket, or you striving to reach $1 million net worth, you run yourself into the ground. You take too many risks, right? So we always want to protect the downside and making sure that we're only entering into deals where there should be win-win opportunities. Oftentimes, again, innovation comes into place because of whether you're setting it up on a creative financing circumstance, whether you're doing land contract or lease with option to purchase, or you're going to ultimately flip it at the end of the deal and look for doing what's known as a 1031 tax exchange, where you don't have to pay as much capital gains and you roll the gains you would have made into a like property for the tax benefit, and of course to keep moving your train down the track towards your goal. So again, number one is going to be evaluating deals. But to do that, we've got to have a marketing strategy or a lead magnet out there that drives leads in your direction.
Which for me would be my real estate, right? Like getting my signs out there, getting my name and face out there, okay?
Yes.
And then my other two questions would be, so you talked about, like yours big one was the 40 units, right? Well, some people do the crawl, walk, run, and what would you say maybe, I mean, I guess it just depends on the deal, right? It depends on the situation, but which one's better? Is it better to crawl, walk, run, or just to maybe take on that big deal? And then what kind of financing?
So that's going to have a lot to do with who your acquaintances are and what are your surroundings. You know, you have to develop relationships within your community that open you up to those opportunities. Now, there are... there is social media out there, so you can be doing a social media marketing plan and doing those things, but frankly, in smaller communities, there are going to be a handful of big players within a community who have built a rural empire. Now, they probably didn't call it that, but that's what we're identifying is those who have built empires, so to speak, within a small community, and you'll know who they are. It's easy to find them. They're the ones who have high participation in the local social clubs, whether it be like a Lions Club or a Rotary Club or the local churches. They're investing in their communities. They're participating and helping support those items. Those, when you look at your local Little League field, you can look at around the field and you can see who is investing in their community. Well, the reason they can invest is because they have the money to invest in those community programs or projects. And so behind the veil of that sign is someone within the local community who's built somewhat of an empire. And so you want to go associate with those and start developing relationships that will open you up to opportunities. What I've found as from personal experience is that they're always looking for another young entrepreneur. Young may not be relative to age, in your case it is, but just someone who is excited about being in the world of business and excited about prospering for their family and investing back in the community, and they're always looking to lend a hand up. I would say there may be the existence of the evil rich man out there. Just don't do business with that one, right? So we're not trying to develop a relationship with the Grinch or the greedy old man, so to speak, that's that is foretold in the movies and in the sitcoms today. But in real life, generally, those who are successful did not get there by running over people. They got there by having others, mentors of sorts, and those in the community who have lifted them up and coached them along. And so you'll find you'll be received very well if you're a person who's considered a person of integrity, one who is dependable and that you can trust on doing what they say. Their word has become their flesh. They do what they say. If they say they're going to be somewhere, that's where they are, and that's what they'll do, and find ways to bring value to their company. So, and to their empire. And what you'll find is in those cases, you're able to develop those relationships, and they already have multiple opportunities coming towards them. So I found in my own life and in my own success that there's more deals that flow my way than is possible for me to do. And yes, I'm cherry picking, but what I cherry pick, I just simply have an advantage because I have the experience in doing it more.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the ones that I haven't chosen are not good deals or great deals also. But for whatever reason, they just may not fit my current mission in my financial portfolio and what I'm trying to accomplish. So I might see a great single family house or a great duplex that would be great to do, but at the level that I'm at, I'm trying to move the needle in bigger swatches at times. And so therefore, I can't wait to pass that on to another young investor and say, hey, here's this opportunity, or maybe this business deal that's come through that looks very attractive and has a lot of upside with not a lot of risk in the development of a new company, so to speak. So I'm always looking to pass those down to other young entrepreneurs. I mean, you're my son, and I'm grateful to have you, but just 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that wouldn't be an opportunity for me to pass down. So knowing that's the case, I was always looking to find a way to build someone up and edify another young entrepreneur within our community, because our communities need these investors in the community and players within the community. Don't think of it as competition. Think of it as collaboration. The more opportunities that you share with others, you'll find that will reciprocate back in your direction. So maybe it's one that I passed on to a young entrepreneur just a few years ago, and they're still deep in the trenches and getting that thing to the level that they want it, and then a deal comes their way. Well, they're happy to call me and pass on that opportunity that came their way, because you can't eat a whole elephant at a time, right? So you eat the elephant one bite at a time. And so when that happens with other investors that I've partnered with, or that I've reciprocated or passed forward some opportunities to them, then that comes back to me, usually in multifold. It usually produces in multiplicity when you find ways to help those within your community.
And I have noticed that many people who have started out, like when you hear their stories, a lot of the times it's them starting out on a big project, or one that maybe they never thought they would have been able to afford at the time, but it was some kind of owner financing situation where, the older entrepreneur who was more seasoned was happy to help and be there and guide the young entrepreneur in his first journey. And I mean, I think it's also something to take great pride in, being the older entrepreneur who can help somebody get on their journey, not in an arrogant way, but you want to pass that down generation by generation. Even if it's not your own family, it's exciting to see young people in your industry. So
it really is.
I think that's great, and great answers for me, and priorities for me to try to look forward to and set straight in my head going forward. But yes, obviously money isn't our main goal, but it's the idea that we can do it, and I believe I will do it. So taking those steps and taking the actions to get there. And thank you for joining us today at Roll Empires. Do you have anything else, Dad?
Yeah, actually, I'll share a quick story because it brings to mind. Today, I've been working on the fourth phase of a development that started back in 2009. I had a couple that had moved into our community. And for their privacy, I won't say their names, but they're just the most marvelous people. Moved in from upstate New York, and when they moved into town, they lived on the outside of the community in a mobile home on a permanent foundation out on 12 acres. Little did I know that they were multi-millionaires. Actually have a son that was a Major League Baseball player that's considered one of the greatest in Major League Baseball history. But you just wouldn't know that, right?
Yeah.
They just dress normal. They're just normal people living a life of peace and getting away from the big city living of New York. And so with that, what happened is I went out to visit them. I was at a local city meeting, and they asked to get their property approved for multifamily. And they ran into a roadblock in a little community. I'm not saying that it's right or that it's acceptable, but what actually happened is they asked for a multifamily zoning on that property that was clearly being used previously as a multi-zone or a multifamily zone, but they were denied. I mean, basically for being strangers.
Yeah.
And so, but then I went and developed a relationship, and I met with them, and we developed that relationship, and they agreed to partner with me. I asked them if I could partner with them on part of the properties, and I felt that I could get the local community involved in agreeing to allow us to make that a nice investment.
Yeah.
So that started out as a $300,000 investment that's now worth multi-millions. Our relationship has developed. Now we own over 60 homes together, and we're getting ready to do phase 4 of 17 more homes. And you know, I don't even believe we owe $500,000 against the property. But not only have I found a lifelong set of friends that we gathered together at holidays, and it's been just wonderful for them, but it was such an encouragement to me to have a mentor.
Like what we're doing right now.
Such as they were. But there was a value there that I was able to bring to the table. I didn't have the capital to invest in such a large project that they did, and they were thrilled to see me grow and develop as we developed that property. I developed as a person, and that also led to the developing of the relationships, and there's been so many more investments that have sprung off of that relationship and in that moment and in that day. And now it's kind of, again, it's just a wonderful success story of exactly what we're talking about. Being able to develop a relationship with titans within your community, bringing value one to another, and you'll find that it will reciprocate in such a way. And so as you develop and become more successful, you'll be looking to have other young entrepreneurs. Again, we're not necessarily referring directly to age, but just young in the entrepreneurial business, and develop them and coach them and encourage them along. So with that said, I just say that there are so many, that's just one of so many wonderful mentors that I've had within my life, and that's continued to develop. And I encourage you to identify those within your community, build those relationships, find an opportunity to have a lead magnet of deals that you can evaluate. Determine which one you'll do based on your current set of skills and resourcefulness that's available to you at the time, and do the deal and learn from the deal. There's, no matter how successful that deal is, there was something you could have done better. And no matter how bad you do within the deal,
just going to get better, right?
You're just going to get better, and you cannot do that reading the book or just watching the YouTube video. You have to get into the game and participate in investing. It's a participator's game, so be a participator. With that, we thank you for joining us here at Rural Empires. Again, I'm Josh Arnold, my son Adam Arnold, and we appreciate you joining in with us today.